Guys, this is another sad story, sort of. The person is really feeling sad about his situation. The person lived and worked, studied in the UK, but currently back in Nigeria. Yes. The person is exhausted. Dear push study work visa. You know what that means? When you finish your program here, you have to apply for post-study work visa, which is for a period of 2 years. Currently, is for 18 months. They have reduced it to 18 months at the moment. But during that 2 years, the 2 years elapse. Anyway, I think it's usually better reading out this story from the first person's point of view so that you can understand it better. I can actually tell the story, narrate it the way it is, but let me just read it out so that you can, feel what this person is going through and how you can support by dropping one or two words for them. And this is also important for those who are currently on a post-study work visa, believing that their company might sponsor them, blah, blah, blah. These people, they can promise you and disappoint you at the 11th hour. So you got to shine your eye, sit up so that you don't have similar experience as this man here. All right. Credits to Tochi again. I saw this post you made about the couple that went back to Nigeria, and honestly, it touched me so much. I've shared that video about a Nigerian couple that went back to Nigeria after staying in the UK. It touched me so much. I don't usually talk about my situation, but I just felt like sharing mine with you because it has not been easy for me at all. I came to the UK to study. I spent so much money. Yeah, every student does. Money I'm still trying to recover from. After my studies, I got the post-study work visa. And I really believed that was my chance to build a life in the UK. Post-study work visa, the 2 years extra. I worked so hard. The company I was working with then promised me COS, Certificate of Sponsorship. People always come to ask in the comment section the meaning of COS. COS is a Certificate of Sponsorship. The full meaning, when you get a job in the UK, a company would offer you what is called Certificate of Sponsorship. That is what allows you to work and live in the UK. In the time past, this COS allows you to bring in your dependents, your wife and children. But lately, the rule was changed. It is now just for the person, especially if you are on a health and care workers visa. But if you are employed by NHS precisely or a high-skilled healthcare worker, you stand the chance of bringing your dependents in or your dependents switching with you. All right. So the company promised me COS. They told me once I complete 6 months with them, or once I completed 6 months with them, they would sponsor me. A lot of people have received similar promises in their workplaces. Unfortunately, these companies, they didn't keep to it. This is why this is important. You listen to this story and you share it to those of you who are currently working in different companies, and manager has promised they're gonna sponsor. Some have even stayed 1 year, no sponsorship. That was the only reason I didn't stress myself applying elsewhere. Guys, do not put your eggs in one basket. I trusted them. Yes, it calls for that trust. But when the time came, they disappointed me. By the time I realized they were not going to give me COS, I had just a few months left on my visa. He did not stop. I started applying everywhere, every single day, to different companies, but I was not lucky. Nothing was working. Before I knew it, my visa was already down to 1 month. And I didn't have any choice but to go back to Nigeria. It's been really hard for me. I keep thinking about all the money I spent school fees, visa fees, everything. And to come back home like this, it's painful. Even though I saved some money from my post-study work and used it to settle back here, that is in Nigeria, it has still not been easy at all. Sometimes I just sit down and cry. Oh, I keep dreaming about my life in the UK. What it could have been. It makes me depressed. I even feel like people are laughing at me in the church. Are you sure? I know maybe nobody is actually laughing, but that's how I feel. Like I failed. Like I should be in the UK living my life. But instead, I'm here in Nigeria. I've gotten a job now, but of course, it's nothing close to what I was earning in the UK. Living in the UK and living in Nigeria are two completely different worlds. Everything here just reminds me of what I lost. It's affecting my relationship too. I'm trying to move on, but my mind keeps going back. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this or how to live a fulfilled life again. I just need advice because the regret is eating me up. I would recall when I returned from the UK in 2013. I found a job in Lagos Island, so clean to work as one of their admin then. I went through the rigorous processes of their interview, traveling from mainland, Festac area to Ikoyi, Falamo precisely. That's where that company is located. The company is still there now because my sister-in-law works there. She was actually the one that referred me. Nigeria. She's been there for over 12 to 13 years now. Yes, working for them. Let me not say what her salary is. before you guys will fight me again that I'm always real. That can't I pretend and cover something? Somebody say, why am I making references with real people? Do I talk about animals on my channel? I talk about people, so my references should be centered around real people, not animals and ants. So when I got that job, after the rigorous processes of interview sections, about 4 or 5 times I went there for the interview. I went to their different company for induction to meet one Oyibo man that is not British. I think those people are from Indonesia or blah, blah, blah. I met with him and I was given my offer letter. Boom! See my salary, 50,000 Nigerian naira after that. Wow! I came back home. My husband came back from work because my husband was working in Lagos Island, Reddington Hospital, precisely where I gave birth to some students. I showed him. I said, "Look, go see my offer letter. Look at the amount they said they will be paying me." Husband man was like, "Sit back here at home. I'll be giving you that money." Because when you calculate the stress of traveling down from Festac to Lagos Island, my sister-in-law, she usually wakes up 5 a.m. in the morning, so that she could leave around 6. Even my husband, as at that time, that was working in Lagos Island, 5 o'clock, he woke up, to do his workout and then breakfast, boom, boom, boom. Before 6 o'clock, he's out going to catch the bus at Sele. If you live in Lagos area, you know Sele Express. Somebody that will be starting work around 9 o'clock, leaving as early as 6 o'clock. You can imagine. Then coming back home, sometimes he finishes his work at 5 o'clock before he could get back home. Sometimes 8 p.m. There was a day he trekked from Sele down to Agor Palace. He said, "My wife will sit back home. What is 50,000 naira?" I almost cried, when you've had this experience working abroad, you know how much you earn per a day when you go to work. Me as a teaching assistant, I don't carry myself come again. Make no flog me. As a teaching assistant, if I had gone to work today, definitely, I will earn about £100. You know how much that is in Nigerian naira? It's almost 200 or 190,000 Nigerian naira. And then you return back to Nigeria, boom, the company will be saying they will pay you 40,000, 50,000, 70. Even at this current economic dispensation that everything has turned Even they will be pricing you 100,000 or 150, which is not really enough. So it feels awkward, and something that can be saddening when you remember earning for 30 days, earning the amount you would make within 2 days. In the UK, you have to work for 30 days with all of those, the stress back home, especially going to work and coming back, can be very overwhelming. And they don't run shifts in back home the way they do it here, apart from factory workers back home. They don't normally do all this night shift they do here a lot back home. And the shift they do from, let's say, 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock for those that work in the hospitals here, from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. It's not like that. Normally, it's not this full day. You work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 p.m. in the evening. It's really hard. It's really hard. And getting a menial job back home is just the worst for anybody. They don't get paid well. In fact, they get looked down upon. But cleaners here are comfortable. People that work in the shops, shop attendants, they are okay. Everybody get paid the same minimum wage that is reasonable. And any job you are doing here, you are getting your pension, you are getting all this holiday pay, all the special benefits, back home. If you are not working on all these big companies, forget about all these benefits, fringe benefits. They are not for you. Pension, holiday, they are not for you. So I know how hard it could be. So if you are in this kind of state currently, if you are able to raise money for your post-study work visa, it's quite expensive. I think it's 2,000 plus or thereabout for one person. And the company you are currently working for had promised you that they're gonna do it. Please open your eyes. Don't keep your eggs in one basket. It happened to somebody. He has been in that company for 2 years. Thanks goodness, they finally gave him that COS after a year plus, because they kept promising and promising, and the wife was on a study visa at that time. The wife visa just expired and blah, blah, blah. PM, they moved to post-study, waiting for the company. Every day I say, come on, guy, I almost called his name. Keep applying to other different companies before these people will disappoint you. But hallelujah, they gave him about 3 months ago or thereabouts, because he has been there and the support work, very challenging work. He's always complaining, and he travels from afar to go to that work. He spends an hour 30 minutes on the bus going to work, just going alone. I am happy for him when he told me that they've given him the COS and he switched his family and all of that. So it's hard. Not everybody gets this opportunity. A lot of companies, they promise and they disappoint. It's happening to a friend of mine around here. They moved from different city to this very place because if it's even NHS, they promise to give the husband COS. On getting here, when they have moved children's schools and all of that, the salary threshold dropped. When there is a particular salary threshold that is required for you to get the COS of a team. NHS, so the team dropped. So the new manager is saying that they might not give them this COS because the salary threshold had dropped and blah, blah. Currently, the woman is looking for a job elsewhere. She had a good job where she was staying, but because of the COS thing, she had to quit from her other job, come down here with her husband with the hope that they will get COS from NHS. So the husband is currently working there and still looking for elsewhere. This is how to do it. They are currently on their post-study work visa. Post-study work visa. So they are not keeping their eggs in one basket, working so hard. The husband is applying. She is also applying. So that they won't be, because they are promising, but they are not certain. Don't keep waiting, because these people, they not be God though. They are not God. And it's not a one person's company here. Unless your company is being owned and managed by a private individual, sole proprietor, the person can take all the decisions. So when the person says, I will give you, you are sure that the person will give you. But if it is These big companies, they might have a meeting next morning and change it for everybody. We no want to again. COS, we know they give again. They will come up with one story. So shine your eyes very well and make hay while the sun shines. Thank you once again for listening to me today. Yes, I appreciate your time. Leave your advice for this young man. You should pick up your pieces. In other ways, I think, sorry, I'm coming back to this. However, this young man should have considered applying for something like a PhD, Masters in Research. Yes, but I know his money, but he would have gotten something like funding, sponsored research program. But he never knew that it could happen like this. He never knew that it was going to end up like this. And who knows, by the time they told him, he said he had just few months left. Possibly it wasn't during the time he could have applied for admission. Yes, because sometimes I know somebody who applied for admission here, he had just about 1 month visa left. They had to ask the person to go back to Nigeria. Go back to Nigeria, renew your visa to come back for your program. These people, they are mean. Though now they are due process. Despite the person having applied for master's here, they say return home first. So this is it for this very content. Thank you once again for your constant support. I sincerely appreciate your time. It's super overwhelming. Yes, Merry Christmas in advance. Like, subscribe, and keep coming back for more. Bye.